Hello, everyone. This is Dr. J, host of the Sexuality Space. Welcome, my silent co host, virtual assistant, and all around I can do anything. Misha Elliott is behind the scenes organizing our business for today. For those of you listening to the replay, the Sexuality Space is live every Wednesday, noon Eastern, on Twitter. Here, I've created a sex positive community where we talk about different topics. Meet CEOs of sex companies, sex educators, researchers, and writers. And I want you to see me doing my work in the daylight as I integrate sexuality into everyday life. So, hello to you all. As a reminder, this is a recorded space which will live on the Twitter timeline and is repurposed on my website, FlowGen Playlist, and on YouTube. Please note that the space is equipped with its own chat feature in the bottom right corner. You can ask questions as the space goes on or direct message Misha or me with questions. Last week, we talked with the famous sex therapist and UF researcher, Dr. Laurie Mintz, author of Becoming Clitorate. Check out the replay. It was absolutely fascinating. This week, I want to talk about body movement, what inspires us to be who we are and dance like no one is watching. Hello, Misha. Are you in a place today where you're going to be able to join in our conversation?
Maybe a little bit, but I am currently stuffing my face with food.
Well, I can appreciate that. Maggie, what about you? Can you give me a emoji if you might be available today? No? Okay. So I want to talk about this very interesting video that Daniel Craig made to advertise Belvedere vodka. And I think part of this struck me in many different directions because, first of all, it was my son who alerted me to this particular advertisement and conversations that he and his friends were having about what does this actually mean? So I did a little deep dive in that process and was tickled to find any number of different things that made this a fun topic all the way around. So, first off, Daniel Craig says he doesn't dance, so he had to learn how to dance to do this particular um, advertisement. And I think when I watch him do that, it's like, well, your body definitely knows how to dance. It has all the movement component down. And I looked at the meaning for him of doing this ad and at the end saying finally into the camera, which for a lot of people was interpreted as a nod to his freedom after leaving the James Bond franchise. And I saw Kinsey Devine talking about that on Mail Online. And he said that when he read the script, he thought, really? Well, let's go with it. I hope people get the gag. And it was neat to see him show off his more playful side with the really cool music that was there. And the director said that he aimed to show what life might be like when the cameras weren't rolling. And I think for a lot of us, when we think about sexuality and dancing, that we do think about that, what's going on with people not being able to dance or feel like that they are inhibited and don't want to show that to the world. So they may decide to do, you know, in their private space. This is what my dancing has to do with. So in looking at this, I want to tell you a little bit about the entire ad itself, because I think it's a neat storyline and it really speaks to the sensual component of the entire ad. Maggie, I just saw your message and I am sending you an invitation right now to speak. So there we go. All right, excellent. So the entire ad starts with Craig standing in this lovely suave white suit. I like E.J. Tanganan's description. He's looking out over the horizon of Paris and he turns around and reveals a crowd of paparazzi and fans swarming him for praise and pictures. And he goes in one door of a car and comes out the other in a new, cooler attire, complete with those leather jackets and shades. And from there, what does he do? He does the only thing that a person can do in those kind of shoes, and that would be strut. He then divulges his image change with a nonstop sequence of solo dancing that this author said, wow, it reminded him of Christopher Walken from Fatboy Slim Weapon of Choice music video. So we even have a nod to history in that direction. So Craig then enters a swanky French hotel, continues his routine, even showing off his James Bond physique as he shows off his guns and bicep tattoos, while he makes his way down the fancy pool area, the rooftop, the occupied elevator, and eventually to his room where a cabinet of Belvedere vodka waits for him. And we get a cameo of the director himself. So when I first looked at the ad after hearing what my son had to say, I really thought, what a great way to use dance to break free from a persona that one has held for a very long time. And I thought that it was a wonderful way to think about how we look at sexuality. And most of you know, in the work that I do, it's all about the integration of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And when we take a look at changing yourself, you can do it starting from any one of those different places. And I think this was a neat way to have that conversation, for him to see what that had to do with and what was this like, especially if he were to say to the world, I'm not a dancer. I don't know anything about dancing. And then he had to learn how to do this. So it made me think about the question of sex and dance and meaning. And that's the topic that I kind of wanted to focus on today. So Maggie, welcome up to the stage. And did you look at the ad and what were your thoughts?
Not yet. I'm going to play it in a second so you can circle back to me.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So Misha, are you finished filling your face there so you can tell me what you thought about the ad?
No, but I will anyway.
Okay.
The funny thing about the ad and you saying he didn't know how to dance, well, he's been James Bond. James Bond knows hand-to-hand combat. So martial arts, it can be repurposed as dancing if you just shift a few things. So you can't tell me he didn't know how to dance. That's crazy.
Well,
if he knows martial arts, he knows how to move his body.
Well, that's interesting because I think that comes into conversations that we've had about perception. That if you think about your person as, do I dance, you may not even put it together with what a martial arts movement has to do with. You're thinking about it in a group of people, or you're thinking about it, boy, I have to do it by myself because I don't think I move well. And then if you add that auditory component of, what's the song and how does that make your body feel? He may have thought he didn't know how to dance, even though we can look at the process and see from the movements that he could do with martial arts and those different kinds of things that his body, he's really in tune with it. He really understands, its movement and what it had to do with. So I thought, yeah, you're right in that direction. He really would have the access and background, but may not define it in a way that really fits that way. I found a really cool. Oh, go ahead.
I have an acquaintance who is into martial arts, and when I see them again, I will ask their perspective. How does dancing and martial art, how can you dance, or are you just doing fighting stance and movements? Like, can you combine the two and bring out something else? Can you have control over your body. Are you able to use one to do the other?
Excellent. And it's funny, you just said that, and it made me think of early years on the soccer field with my son, who had a Jamaican coach who would show how dancing worked on the field in terms of the rhythm of having the ball at your feet and moving that. So I think the more that we can integrate those kinds of things together is going to be really helpful to people thinking about their body, getting into their body and moving with their body. Maggie, your hands up.
I did just watch it, and oh my gosh, Donna, this is crazy. Because so many thoughts. I'm going to try to be super brief. I just danced for the first time with my boyfriend over New Year's because of the pandemic. We just had never had the opportunity to go to a party, but we went to one, and I had never experienced this before. And his dancing, there was a Daniel Craig's actually reminds me of how he's shaking his booty in the video. And Mathieu was doing that when he was dancing with me, and he had taken salsa lessons early, like several years ago. And my first reaction to seeing him doing that was to feel uncomfortable because I had never actually seen one of the men that I've been with in my life move in such like a free and uninhibited manner in a way that I think particularly white men of a certain background are not maybe socially allowed to, or that it's accepted for them. And my cousins who are of Polish origin even made a comment about it, like, oh wow, he was like really shaking it out there. I'm not going to say it was in a negative way, but in kind of like a surprised way. But then once I got used to the dancing style and, him kind of spiriting me around on the floor, I found myself really enjoying it, and it became an experience for the both of us. And so in watching the video that you shared, I wonder if some of that hesitancy is around this kind of like freedom of movement for men that's not always celebrated as it should be. So there's just the thought that came to my mind, given that I literally just had this experience a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's perfect. And I think you segued into something that I definitely wanted to talk about is that, a lot of times people divide their body at the waist and they don't deal with its movement from the waist down. And so I can see that in terms of how people hug. You have this A shape in hugging because we don't know what to do with the pelvic area of our body. And I did an entire dance class with an expert hula dancer who really spent time talking about the four corners of your hip movement and how you would activate the energy of that area of your body. And it's a way to, how do we bring this into consciousness? How do we bring this into another way that we can experience ourselves and feel really good about it? So that's kind of interesting. Mish, go ahead.
I'd like to say that I went out a couple of weeks ago and I'm tired of the I'm not drunk enough to dance excuse.
Interesting.
I understand that, I have no formal training in dancing. I've been shamed over the years in how I dance or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm having fun. I'm moving my body in the way that it wants to move. Leave me alone. Not my problem. You aren't able to do that without copious amounts of alcohol.
I got you. And it made me think there was a blog post that I read by Donna Turner, and she was talking about how we can use erotic dance as a means to get to know ourselves sexually and sensually. And because we can see dance as a copy of reality where partners can express themselves through dance. And so they can each lead each other and play while this seducing is happening. But at the same time, it's just as vital that we have that solo dance, that we can get into the space around us. We're sensitive to sounds and touch and smells and what's visible and unseen. And it's like that's what sex demands. Absolutely the same thing, because all the parameters within dance are equally impacting in sexual repartee back and forth, whether you have a partner or whether you're alone. You get in touch with the sensations of what you're experiencing in your body, which is why when I started, I said, my work is about integrating physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Well, maybe you're someplace and the music comes on and your body responds to that. So you're having the auditory, sensory item with a direct body response. And then you may, as you just said, Mish, where somebody says, I'm not drunk enough to dance. This is their cognitive, this is what their mental messages are that they're telling themselves. And maybe they have been, where you said, shamed about how your body moves and this, that, and the other. All of these things come into play, and we never give people the space where they can learn or create the time to see what their body means to them and what that movement and fluidity really has to do with. So
I will
Maggie,
say that my roommate and I are very good. We're like, no, you're safe with us. We're not going to let anybody bother you. Come out and dance. And usually, okay, I'm with you. I'm safe. I can do this. And we get them out there.
well, and I think it's one of those things too that, where do we give ourselves permission to move our body and move our body specifically directed to the idea that it's related to sensual pleasure? When we're looking at two people together, we're looking at the series of emotions. So if we're going to look at fulfillment or affection or connection, security, excitement, we're trembling and getting excitement about the general love that we feel, not just for ourselves, but for others. And sometimes this may be tied directly to a freedom that is on the deepest level, which is identically manifested in the trance of dance and in a sex act. So it's important for us to give ourselves permission to have the space, to create that space at home, to decide to invite someone into that space, and to really use dancing as a moving meditation to get into what your own eroticism has to do with. And so those are the kinds of things that I wanted to address today. So if there's anything that someone would like to ask, we have we have the chat feature in the bottom right-hand corner. You can stick some notes in there. I see Misha has put a GIF in there about how she dances. So I didn't know you turned yourself into Jensen Ackles. So that's pretty cool. I like that
When I'm
as
at home, you
when
turn the
you're at
music
home.
up and you do the awkward dances that everybody loves.
Cool. Well, I see we have a guest on the stage. Hi, Victoria. Is this your first time to the
Yeah,
space?
it is. Yeah, it's good to see you every
Well,
day. Yeah,
welcome.
yeah.
Welcome. What did you think of the video?
It's cool. I like it. I like the way he moves. Well, I done kickboxing, so martial arts, yeah. Get the rhythm, get the moving. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Love it.
So, well, you might be able to address the question that Misha said. If you're into kickboxing, do you see the translation of that being almost a dance movement for you and having access and information for yourself about how your body works?
Yeah, it's how it moves. It goes with the flow. You've got to like get into the rhythm and stuff like that. So yeah, he's doing a cracking job. Keep going, and I like it. Keep going. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I thought it was a great video, and I think it's one of those inspirational kinds of things. I think it had, for me, when I looked at it, the emotion of it tagged me personally, looking at the ease with which everything about his movement flowed, like he just really leaned into the idea of I can move my body, I will do this, and just in the moment, which so many of us don't stay in the moment, but in that moment it was captured on film, the essence of who he is as a person who can very easily and fluidly get into that rhythm and move its body. So that's
Yeah.
pretty exciting.
And he was expressing himself as well in his sexual way as well. So yeah, which is pretty good. Yeah, keep doing
Yeah,
that
and
thing.
I think that the idea of understanding that it can be erotic and the sexual components allow us to tie together sexuality, spirituality, sensuality. They're all related to dance, but we can also apply them specifically to what's important to us in sexual activity and how we can bring a more present self into whatever adventures, we're off to be involved in. Oh, I got it
Totally
100.
agree. Thank you, Dr. J. It's interesting anyway. Keep going.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. Maggie, you having any other thoughts about this?
No, I'm just loving this conversation so much. Thanks for having it.
Well, you're welcome. I was thinking that it would be, I'm doing many different classwork components, and I think that the whole idea of how to bring the dancing into the moving meditations for our understanding of our sexuality, and to be able to set that apart and say, okay, I will be working this to learn more about myself, so that you could create that space for, I don't know, your sacred ritual of learning more about who you are. And it's always funny when we do body movements and move in different ways, we can get new information from ourselves, and then we can filter that through, how did we feel about that? What did we think about that? What does that connect me to my value systems? And those kinds of things are what resonate with me about it. Go ahead, Maggie.
Yes, well, now that you mention it, Dr. J, absolutely. And I think too, for a lot of people who are carrying a history of body shaming, I can see how that would be really freeing and, well, liberating actually, in getting to know your body, because, for so long you might have been told you're not allowed to do X unless you look like Y. And so, getting rid of those attitudes towards a kind of a better view of yourself, I think that what you're saying is really speaking to me.
Oh, I love it. My, it's funny when you think about bringing into your core, ideas, and then what's the internal focus, and then what information do you take from that? A lot of people say to me, wait, do you stop and reflect about everything? And I go, yeah, pretty much. I think about something, I go do something, then I think about how I felt when I did it. And it's that, process and the journey of understanding myself better and learning about what I like, and if it's pleasurable, what can I do to get more of it? How can I experience it differently? And it's almost thinking about it too, when you watch people dance, and I think I enjoy watching a tango more than any other dance, I think, because you have such an emotional component that's being projected through that erotic together, act, react, and we're watching to see how people are really making that connection with one another. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in complications about things that we don't think about the simplicity of it. To be in a space by ourselves, to decide what music. Jacques, I see you down there. I'm already thinking what music you're going to be putting on in the process. What music would you want to assist you in having your body move in a particular way? And then what information might you get from that experience? And would the music in and of itself be different? And would you get different messages from the type of music that you played? What do y'all think up here on the stage?
Well, different music has different vibrations, doesn't it? So yeah. Higher the vibration, the better the feeling you'll get. So yeah.
So Victoria, it's almost like if the song gives you a specific vibration, it will cause changes for you and be different every time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Jacques, did I invite you up with that lovely comment? Hello, my friend.
Hello. Good morning, afternoon to y'all. Dancing. I first saw the title. You might shame me on this one, but I'm like, how does James Bond fit with dancing? Because Daniel Craig was the last
Did you
James
watch
Bond.
the video?
Nope,
Did you watch the video?
nope. I just like James
Oh my
Bond.
goodness. Well, let me tell you, the cool part about this video is that it's almost a direct, I'm changing from James Bond to being myself. And you won't believe the video. So you're going to have to go look at it and then tell me what you think, because it is phenomenal.
Well, I mean, dancing has always been a part of me since being a teenager. So the sensuality aspect of it, I mean, in the genre of music that I like, that's part of, making love or opening to get to know somebody. And one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite songs is "Do You Make Love Like You Dance Out on the Floor?" I mean, so
Yeah.
I can, I like to shake it and dance and move. I've gone to a lot of parties and connected with ladies and making moves and dancing with each other. And it's like almost close to sex. I mean, next thing you know, it easily could be in bed with somebody with the same move. So this is kind of like, okay, you're gonna have to explain a bit more to me. I like listening to funk and R&B. So that gets me in the groove, and then we slow it down to dancing to a love song.
Well, I think, you are hitting all the buttons that I've talked about earlier, is that sexuality, sensuality, and dance, movement of the body, are all just metaphorical. They are direct. They tie us together. They have the emotion embedded into it. And so as a writer, I know you'll be thinking about this. I just wrote down how you went funk, R&B, groove, and I'm thinking about that as the direction of a story, told by the movement of the music, where things start out at this level and then you change directions to get to the place that you want to go. I mean, there's so many messages that we can get from dance and movement.
Well, I mean, I also like watching belly dance and creative dancing like that. I think it's very sexy. So, I mean, the costume, the whole 9 yards with that. I mean, what goes through my mind I'm like, yeah, it's a very good feeling and a very good picture. I mean, I remember one time I was out with some friends watching belly dancing, and the dancer coaxed me out on the floor with her, and everybody's looking around, and she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, we're getting a little too serious here." I'm like, "Hey, I can move."
But I even think when you're looking at belly dancing, we're talking about movement art. I mean, we're really getting into the artistic expression of the body. And when you get so in depth with it, it does have that feel and it has that impact on you. And that's why I was saying the action reaction. You're in the movement. You should see me sitting at my desk. I'm flowing. I'm moving forward and backward and forward and backward as we're having the conversation. And I think that conversation can do that. Movement can do that. And all of those things show up in any of the sexuality that we're doing, including if we're doing this as a solo dance to get in touch with different parts of who we are. It can have all of that different movement to it. So, Jacques, you think we should write a story in this world, tie it together specifically to the music flow?
I already put a lot of music in my stories anyway, because there's always jazz playing in the background. My thought is always have been, when a couple of making love, a man and woman making love, it's an extension of dance to me. And see, I got so many dance ideas and experiences, stories in the back burner that I've got waiting to write. It's there. It's just writing the experience I had with this lady that I danced with, that she coaxed me out on the floor. I mean, I got something with that, and a lot of other things going on. Oh, and so just wait. That's all I got to say.
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. And I love that, you're so in tune with that, that you're making it be a huge part, which puts that wonderful individual stamp on your writing, because the music and the movement is such an integral part of you. It comes right into the stories from that direction. So that part's really cool.
Because one of my stories I submitted to Tantalizing Tales, Posey is an editor, and she's like, "What? No jazz?" I'm like,
Oh, that's
okay.
too funny.
I'm like, yeah, I gotta put some jazz. That's my trademark. Put some jazz in the background. I got one of my earlier stories on Medium is a story called the Jazz Set, and it's basically reacting to the music and the music being played. So I picked up a few songs from my or expounded on some songs on my my romance list of songs that I just put in and just put some words in and the sounds in it and just wrote with the reaction of two people making love to that set of songs.
Yeah, it's funny. You may not have been in here. Maggie made a comment a minute ago that part of the process of dance is a shame component, and that certain groups of people may feel like they've been given the message that they can't move their body in a particular way, the individual messages or the cultural message. Think about it. When the king went to dance for the first time, how TV would not allow Elvis the Pelvis to have his body shown on TV because, well, we know what the connection there has to do with. What do you think would be a good way to help people ease into having an understanding about their body through dance?
That was also with Elvis, if I remember, when I was a kid, seeing that. There's a lot of racial connotations with Elvis with that because of the music he was doing, and
Yeah.
And with the movement. You look at this. I remember one time that they had the Rolling Stones on, and then Mick was just standing there straight with the microphone, and then next thing you know, he sees James Brown out there doing everything and working with the mic, and then he starts grabbing it after that. So it is a cultural thing, but dance is a form of freedom in any form, and rather if you can't keep the rhythm or whether just let yourself go and move. That's the bottom line, to make yourself feel good. One of the things I was reading one time is when somebody came to a shaman and asked, "I'm not feeling good, I'm kind of unhappy and I'm depressed," and the first thing the shaman, one of the things he asked was, "When was the last time you danced?" Okay, so that's part of that, is to let yourself feel good and let yourself go in the moment. Who gives a I'm gonna be crude. Who gives a damn about what you think about how you move and anything? Just move and just enjoy yourself. That's the bottom line.
Well, and it's interesting too, because when I think about sex therapy work and I think about where people might have concerns, issues, difficulties, some of it can be specific to body movements, and they haven't gotten the second chakra, the whole creativity, the whole movement of the pelvis in the process of moving so that it becomes unified with the whole body. And I think what you're saying in the freedom is that wonderful spot where if we have time by ourselves, start there. If you've not done dancing before, you don't have to start with everybody watching you. You can put the music on of your choice. You can stand in front of a mirror if you so choose. You can not look at yourself, but just get in tune with what the rhythm and the feel of that is. And if it's changing some of that cognitive messaging and the mental processes, then, think about it as I'm participating in an art form. This is an art form for me to learn more about myself. And it's an expression of what's going on with my body, and I can use it in that way. Go ahead, John.
That's what I did when I was young, in high school. So I got in front of a mirror, put some songs on, My thing was keeping up with the latest dances. When you're in high school and all that other stuff, you got to learn the latest dances or you're not hip. But that's one of the things I did was learn the latest dances. I just watched and imitated it in the mirror in the basement and got out there and did my thing. Part of it is you're shy and you're, even like I said, in high school. I mean, it could carry on in an adulthood, but part of that is you're worried about people looking at you and if you're doing it right or how you feel and you move. And then when you get really into it, when you're in a party and you really get into it, nobody's really looking at you. The folks that are making fun of you, the wallflowers that aren't brave enough to get out on the floor themselves. And so forget about what they think. They ain't dancing. They ain't in the game.
I love it. That is the part about being in. Oops, can you hear me okay? That was odd. I think
Yeah.
part of it too is being in the game is deciding to be in the game for yourself, that you're starting to delineate the things that are important to you and you're dismissing things that are negative or concerned about what other people say, and that you're looking at, this is my pleasure, this is my one time around the sun. I want to get the things that are important to me that allow me to connect and be with other people in a way that's meaningful and provides that great quality of life. But Jacques, I want you to take, while we're in here, I want you to pop over and look at that video and then come back in, because I really want to hear what you have to say about it. So check it out for me right now. I think that would be really cool. I was looking at the idea that there's a difference, I think, between what one does solo and what one does in partnering. And that could be partnering 1, 2, 3, whatever your number. You could have group dancing going on for all that matters. And it's almost like thinking about it as singing a song. It has that harmony component to it. And we want to tap into everything within us that is a goodness, that is a strength that we can have. And I think if people would approach the idea of, if I move into my body, I'm looking for, and I said this last night in a class I was teaching, what my capabilities are. And if I can look at my capabilities and talk about that. Victoria, you were talking about that with kickboxing. I mean, if you are able to do those kinds of moves, then it's going to translate into all sorts of different places. You already have a base and a starting point that you can do that from. And all of us growing up have either had an experience or not had an experience. And it's the not having the experience that we get to now step into who we are and figure out, well, maybe today's the day that I want to have this experience. And I want to know what comes to my mind, what is my thinking, and I want to be thinking about experiencing the feelings and seeing where this is as a true sensuality and erotic component. Ramon, I see you hopped up on stage.
Hello, everybody. No, those are some great points that that Jacques was bringing up, and what you just said. I was so uncomfortable with myself that I didn't even take dance. We started taking some dance lessons in my 50s because I've always been such a klutz. I'm like that Butler from the Munsters on the dance stage, and it just got in my head. So it's like, well, I shouldn't try because whatever. But to what you said, I didn't want my children feeling that way. So their involvements in things like martial arts or similar things like that, where they gained comfort in owning and manipulating their bodies, was a huge thing for me. And I can't tell you if it would have mattered, but I wanted that on the table for them.
Well, I think you're hitting a valuable point for anyone who's doing parenting work. I mean, you're the role model. If you don't set the tone for what you would like to see that would be helpful for them, you've learned something about yourself and you'd like to be able to put that forward so they can, have an experience that was different from yours. I mean, that's, what everybody hopes for. Learn something, pass on the learning to another generation. But Ramon, I really am curious. What did you think of the video?
I loved it.
What did you love
I
about it?
I love the expressionism, and my mind immediately went to it tied to a question that was on social media this morning. I'm trying to remember. It was basically someone was asking about uh, what women feel more enabled to do now that there are legal things backing up women in society and they're not as subservient to patriarchal thoughts or rules. So yes, I have danced that way in the shower. Are you kidding me? I've been that guy. And you get me. Some of the people, I lead hikes, and I will be expressive like that on a trail if I think people are just kind of, need to loosen up a bit. I'll go skipping down a trail. I'll get the entire group doing a move down down the trail, just to kind of get people a bit more chill and into, hey, we're here, let's have a good time. So yeah, and I think part of that is a comfort that I reach with myself, and part of that comfort is I know is that point in your life where you feel secure enough, and sometimes it's financial security, and sometimes it's your position in society, whatever, but just whatever it takes to feel that level of confidence that you can let your hair down and don't really care, because it's not all that serious. Worst case, if someone tries to, get in my head about it, you just laugh and keep on rolling. It's no big
Well,
deal.
I love how you said that about people feeling comfort, but I think there are two areas that occur for people. They can feel comfortable enough with themselves to say, yeah, watch me, I'm doing this. Or they can say, I am full of strength and capability, and watch me step into this place I've never been before. Because, there's so many different ways that people can approach doing something new for the first time. And it depends on how we're put together and the experiences that we've had for which place we might come from to do that particular movement forward. So I just wanted to highlight that as a possibility, because sometimes people may never be comfortable and it may be, I'm just going to do this because I'm ready to do this.
Absolutely. Well, so for instance, with the middle school kids that I mentor, I remember one session we were online, and I said, I want y'all to, because they have to leave their cameras on. Well, I said, so now I'm telling you, everyone turn your cameras off. And we all sang a popular song about empowerment that was popular at the time. And they knew the lyrics, they knew the song. So I said, we're all going to sing this. Don't worry about what you sound like. If there's a cat that starts to scream, tell them to leave, or howl, and just let it loose. And they had so much fun. But at the end of the day, you're right. It adds that little bit of, I can do this. I can own my life.
I love it. And I like that you're thinking about it in relation to the middle schoolers, because that'll give them a leg up too. I added Elle to the stage. Elle, have you ever been in my space before?
Hi. I've listened in a couple times, but I don't believe I've ever been up on your speaker floor before. So thank you so
Well,
much.
welcome. What do you think of all this?
I love this. I I am currently in the process of healing my sexuality, and the way that I have found to do that works best for me is through dancing. And I'm still at the beginning of this journey, but it's like the dancing and the movement and releasing kind of some stagnant energy. I'm an energy worker, and so I kind of view things through that
Oh,
way.
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the way that I found to release some of that stagnation and reconnect with my power and my sexuality, because for the longest time I've just been stuck in this place of it's bad, it's wrong, people are going to use my power against me. And so kind of coming back into that power, dance has been so powerful.
So I'm curious, which type of dance did you choose for your expression?
I think it kind of depends a little bit on the day, on the mood. Most recently I've really been enjoying the music by Dove Cameron. Um, she's a queer artist. I really identify with her vibrations and her aura, and so just I think it's important to find something that really resonates with you and your soul.
Absolutely. And also the question I was going to ask you, is this solo expression, or are you inviting someone to participate with you?
Oh, that's such a good question. At this point in my journey, I am still on the solo road. I hope at some point, I've been looking into like West Coast swing and getting really um, energized by that, and I would love to dance that with a partner.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I was saying, I don't know if you were in here earlier, that my favorite thing to watch is a tango. And there's so much expression and thinking about how two people move together. As a writer, I think about that in terms of the scenes that I'm creating for here's an action and here's a reaction, and what's the internalization and what is somebody thinking, and how to help people have that same kind of experience themselves with the music, as you said, with the vibration. What is this doing for me? What information am I getting from me? How is it moving the energy through my body in a positive and wonderful and healing way, so I have more space for the strength and goodness that'll give me the quality of life that I'm looking for. And I love it when we can be clear and find things that are physical, that we can say, this is a body movement that has provided me not only information, but hopefully pleasure, because that's a feel good, playful component of doing dance. At least that's how I look at it. Oh, Pixie, do you have a minute? I see that you just popped in here. And Jacques, I'm curious, did you go back and look at the video? Because I really do want to know what you thought. Pixie, you got a minute where you can chat? I gave you an invitation to speak. Welcome, Miss Pixie.
Well, hello, Donna. I see you guys are talking about sexy dancing, and
Well, I thought maybe that would intrigue you.
you know, I love sexy dancing, and it's such a powerful way to like use your body for words and tell a story, or you could really just be yourself while you're doing it. And it doesn't even have to be for anybody else. It could just be you in front of a mirror. And that's, yeah.
Yes, yes. You're saying all the things that I've been talking about. This is so exciting. Actually, when I put this together, I've been so busy this week. I was going to send you a note and say, I want you to look at this video and I want to know what you think.
I did not get
Did
to
you look
look
at
at
the
the video.
Okay, well, you have got to look at the video. And even if we don't have time today for you to tell me, you have to tell me what you think of this
Oh, I
video.
will.
As a person who is a dancer, I really want you to know that this is a nod to Daniel Craig leaving behind James Bond and stepping into himself with this
I
dance.
love it. I love it.
I know, and it's quite sensual, in my opinion, and it's quite freedom. We've been talking about freedom a lot in the space about having your own personal space to create situations where you can get information about your own pleasure, about what feels good to you, about what resonates with you, about how you can use all of that for healing. So yeah, I'm just really excited about that. So Pixie, can I ask you a direct question?
Absolutely.
And you can always say, no, I'm not going to answer that.
I love answering questions from you.
When you create a dance, if you were on your stage, you mentioned stories. So I'm kind of curious about how you actually think that through and put it together.
So I usually don't create dances. I usually pick music that puts me in the mood, that allows me to listen to what's going on in the song. Sometimes songs are really powerful. And so your movement is going to be really powerful. Sometimes it's going to be slow, and just being able to put yourself into that mindset. How would this person react? How would you react to like leather and lace, and just being yourself up on stage? There's nothing more powerful than being up on stage as an individual. I can tell you guys that when I'm up there, all eyes are on me. It's a very dominant, and I'm very feminine, but there's just so much power and captivating that I can use myself and the movements that I create to have people just stop what they're doing and just look at me. And it's sort of the sexiest, most powerful, freeing thing that I myself personally do. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can walk out on stage in heels and bear it all. That's really, it's not for the weak. And it can be so freeing to know that somebody can do that, male or female. But it's the music that really projects and allows you to move into it and to move out of it. Now, most of the day, I am not a sexual being, but I can tell you up on stage when I'm preparing and to step into that role, that I can lean into it and know that it's there. And I just absolutely love being able to dance and be sexy and be free. And it is personally self gratification there. Yes, I'm titillating the mind and the body, and I'm bringing you through sort of a sexy song. But for me, it's really just for me. I'm very selfish when it comes to it. I'm very selfish when I dance and I have all of those eyes upon me. So it's interesting.
Well, let me tell you, you stepped away from selfish in this moment, because I want to tell you what you just shared with everybody in the space here. Your passion, your energetic essence about what it is to be on stage and liberate you, connecting to the music, moving in a way that punctuates and does all of these different things that titillate and give you power. All of that came through as you were talking.
Well, I wouldn't have done it for more than 23 years if I didn't enjoy it.
And there you go. That's the important part. Working in that pleasure direction of, I know what works for me. I know what feels good for me. I know what I'm good at, and staying in that direction. I'll say that about my 47 years of work. It's like, I'm still sitting here talking about sexuality. So it must be something I really enjoy doing. But I do want you to watch the video, excuse me, and I want to hear what you think of it. Jacques, have you had a chance to look at the video yet?
Yeah, I saw it.
And
he's just another guy dancing. Just reminded me of Christopher Walken dancing in the hotel lobby. That was in that category. He had his own groove on. It was just selling vodka. I would have liked it better. I would have resonated more if it was Moneypenny dancing than him. I mean, he's just the guy getting his groove on. I mean, it's like me when I'm cooking or doing something or waiting for something. I just sometimes just break down and do my own groove. And I got a groove in my head. I got I got a bass line, a horn section, and lead, and I'm just like, they thumping, and I just get into it. So I mean, it's pretty much like that. But I mean, to me, it was just another guy dancing. Didn't grab me as sexy. I mean, he had smooth moves, and
Well, I think it's all a matter of our perceptions of what we each find sexy, or the connection that we have with that particular thing. And I would think that if I were to watch you dancing in the same way as I watched him dancing, that I'd come away with the same idea. This is a freeing person who, created this movement for themselves, and I got to enjoy it and feel what that felt like. So it's pretty exciting to
well, I
hear
mean,
that and to
I challenge you, Doc. You got a song that you like to dance. What is your favorite song that just makes you want to get up and dance?
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You ready?
Put it in your head sometimes and just sit back and just let yourself go with it. Just even if you're just taking a break at your desk, get up. If you hear that song or put it on and it just makes you want to get up and dance, do it.
Well, I will, and I'm
yourself
gonna
out
tell you what the
and
song is.
shake your rump to the funk, okay?
Okay, but the song I'm gonna be picking is "Get It On."
Well then, hey, the song that you pick, you need to do. Get it on.
That's right. That's right.
Wait. Which one? There's plenty of songs named that.
Oh, come on. Well, the version that I really like is the Pentatonics version of "Get It On." It's really
Personally, me, I like Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On," but who cares? It works.
well, but that is it. That is the Marvin Gaye song. I like his version, and I also like Pentatonics version.
Oh, okay, yeah, Marvin Gaye, "Let's Get It On." Get your groove on with that. Put it on. Get your groove on. Get your stuff. I encourage everybody. Get you a song in your head. If you got a groove going on that just makes you want to move, keep it in your head and just do it. Let yourself go. Let yourself be free. Who gives a damn about what everybody else is like? Sometimes I break down and dance when I'm pumping gas. All right, it's just if I feel it, do it.
That's
Is
so
there
All
a
funny.
Spotify link in the chat to the song
Oh, I love it. And I
so
see
everyone can
Maria.
dance to your music today?
And I see Maria, you put in Sugar Magnolia. Yes. So, it's just fun, Jacques, just like the way Pixie was talking about what it meant to her to be on stage dancing and what it is for you, that dancing is in every arena of your life, even the kitchen, even the gas station, that the energy of it is so great and wonderful and
right.
terrific.
When I was
Y'all have
working at the office, sometimes I was making copies of a manual that I had to pass to somebody else while the copier was going. There was a bunch of pages. I got my groove on and was dancing. Coworkers would pass, go, yeah, go ahead. I said, come on, dance with me. Okay.
Well, I
So
absolutely love it. This has been, for those of you who just came in here at the end, I'll be closing out, but you have to look up in the nest. And Misha has put in the furthest tweet to the right is the dancing video by Daniel Craig. And so this is what the theme of the conversation has been about today, how we can have our artistic expression, either solo, either with a person, how we can reflect on what the meaning is for us, what we can learn about ourselves as a sexual person, the connection of sensual pleasure and excitement, and all of that can come through our bodies in a way that we can love and appreciate. She also has up there a blog post and let me see what else. Oh, in case you didn't know, my publisher just released the date for my book coming out with the cover of the book, and that's in the nest too. So I was really excited about that. And Misha put the purple sex cards up in the deck. So this is where we're coming to a close here. So I am going to ask any of the folks on stage if you would like to make a final statement as we close, and then I'll sign us off. So Victoria, you want to add anything here at the end?
No, just like it was a great space, and keep going, Dr. J. I've been following you for a long time, so keep going and keep doing
I
what you're doing.
appreciate it, Victoria. Thank you so much. Maggie, what about you?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ramon.
I'm going to go dance myself some brunch.
I love it. I can see you and Jacques dancing now. We got it going. We got it going. Elle, what about you?
I am really excited to just take this conversation and move this forward into my life and continue exploring dance as a way to broaden my sexual horizons. Thank you.
I love it. Thanks, Elle. And Miss Pixie.
Never stop dancing. It's never too late to find a sexy song and grab a partner and just enjoy the day. I love this conversation.
Oh, I'm so delighted you joined us today. Thanks, Pixie. And Jacques, come on, sum us up.
All I can say is, like I said, get your groove in your head that you enjoy, play it over that track in your head, play it, get out on it. Don't let nobody hold you back. Matter of fact, don't let yourself hold you back. That's the thing. Don't let yourself hold you back. Just do it.
Just do
I
it. I
second what
love
Jacques
it.
says. I
Well,
totally second that. Just get up and move.
I was going to come to you and ask you what you were going to, summation wise today, Miss Mish.
I have to dance my way down the stairs. But hey, everyone, if you're at a day job or elsewhere, as soon as you get home, turn on the music and start dancing. That's your homework for today.
Ooh, she's moved into teacher mode. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today, and most especially to Mish, who takes care of everything for me behind the scenes. Please follow the speakers that are on the stage and share the love of what we're doing in this sex positive community. I want to let you know that you can subscribe to my newsletter or my YouTube channel. And tomorrow on the Moan app at 4 p.m., I'll be hosting Purple Sex and Erotic Whims, and the theme is discussing the Purple Sex Deck, and Mistress K will be helping me unveil that. So I'm really, really excited for it. So next week we will be here with founder Gabby Jockers, who will be talking to us about her body deck cards that she created, and her inspiration as being a boudoir photographer. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how she's put all this together, and that'll be next Wednesday, noon Eastern Time. Thank you for sharing your time and space with us today, and I appreciate every one of you, and I'll see you on the timeline.